I have one of my kind of regular jaunts down to Perth today, but everything's kind of just conspiring against me today, in that I had something else to do before going down, so I couldn't leave at my usual time to head down. And that other thing was across the other side, or into the middle of the city. So I had a few extra miles to go before heading down. So normally this would be no bother at all, and either to do in one hop or to charge at one of the chargers on the way down. But as far as I'm aware, the rapid charger at Forfar, at the council building, which I've used many times before, is still not working on the AC side properly. So I had another driver in a Zoe tried it recently on their way up north, and it's I think it was doing exactly the same thing it does for me, which is it just sort of hangs there and never connects to the car. So that's been months it's been like that now, and I've certainly sent complaints in about it and nothing has changed. But that is a really important rapid charger in the network on this kind of northeast, because it's just in a kind of midpoint and it's not working properly, so it's very frustrating. So I need to get all the way down to Perth in one charge. So I've already had some extra miles I've had to do before leaving, and it is 1 degree. It is very cold, so there's another thing conspiring against me. I'm running late, so I need to rush to get down, which is just a big no-no when you're trying to conserve energy. And so I plugged the car into charge last night, so fully expecting it to be at 100% this morning, but also knowing it was going to be freezing overnight, I thought, well, I'll set the comfort timer. So now I'm intrigued by any other Zoe drivers, if you have the same experience, because I very rarely use this. For those that you don't know, that's what pre-warms the car before you head off, which is a great feature, really good, and it worked fine. So the car was lovely and toasty warm when we got to the car this morning, but it was still connected to the charger, and the charger was blue. So it was charging, or it was connected so that it could charge, but it clearly wasn't charging the car. So the car was at 96%, which is why at 93%, I think it was 92% when I plugged the car in just now. So despite my rush, I'm having to top up a little bit of charge here, because starting an 80-mile run at 1 degree, mostly on dual carriageway, when you're not even at a full battery, would be foolhardy. So I'm gonna let it sit and charge up a little. However, do you see this? 93%, 1 hour. What? So unfortunately, I don't have my wee little device here. I took it out of the car and it's sitting on my desk to plug in here to see what it's exactly the rate it's charging at. But mamma mia, you know it's going to be slow because of the temperature and because it was already at a high rate. But that is mind-blowing. So I was hoping to get it up a few more percent. We'll see. I'm going to give it maybe 10 minutes, but then I really have got to go. I was hoping that by then it would kind of get up to 98-99%, and then I'd be able to scoot off the rest of the way. Anyway, we'll see. So bit of a challenge for this journey today. We'll see how we go. Yeah, so I'd be intrigued to know if others that use the comfort timer, if you have the same issue, if it doesn't, it doesn't draw enough power to then, because it clearly it would have charged to 100%, last night, and then at whatever 1, 2 in the morning, it probably finished charging. Then yeah, but it's clearly drawn down on the battery in order to warm the car up, rather than taking it from. So I don't know if you are plugged into a home charger, that never happens. It's because I was plugged into a public charger that it did that. I'd be intrigued to know what your experience is of that, because as I say, when I got to the charger, the light was blue as if it was still connected and charging, but not a lot happening there. All right, okay, I'm still at 93%. I think maybe a toilet break in Asda, and then hopefully come back and it's up a few percent. Blimey, this must be going unbelievably slow. Hey. All right. So nearly 15 minutes and 0.67 of a kilowatt hour going in. It's up to 95%, but I've got to go. So I'm just gonna have to keep my fingers crossed. This is gonna work. Very slow. Yeah, look at that, crawling up. In fact, let me stop it. Well, I've added a couple of miles or so to the range on there, so you never know, that might be the difference between getting there and not. So I'm gonna have to drive carefully to get down this morning. So I was wondering, because it's so slow to charge when it kind of starts a charge at that high level, whether that is why it doesn't keep up when you've got the full heating system warming the car, that it is drawing more power than the charger is providing. And it was noticeable when it was plugged in. There's still a slight whine, but it is very, very, very quiet. You can hardly hear it. So it is obviously just running at a 1 or 2 kilowatts or something like that. A very slow rate of charge. All right, I've got to go, and so yeah, maybe give you a status update on the way down. So we'll see how we go. Oh! I am, what am I now? I have 3 bars and a half a bar-ish, so a bit less than half the battery, and the battery on the image of the battery is going to split into 8 different sections, and I've been working quite hard on the way down on my eco driving. The horrible thing about coming out of Aberdeen heading south is that as soon as you come out of Aberdeen, and of course in Aberdeen you're basically at sea level, there's then this long climb of about 4 miles up. So by the time I got to the top of the climb, my average consumption was at 2 miles per kilowatt hour. So it's not good. So you start your drive at like the worst possible, and so I've been trying to build up my average to somewhere kind of near what I need it to be for getting to Perth without any worries. So I haven't been doing too badly. I'm up to over 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour now, and of course I didn't have a full battery when I left, so I'm kind of thinking 20, maybe 20 kilowatt hours I have at my disposal. So 4 miles per kilowatt hour would be nice. That would give me a little kind of comfort mode. So 3.8, actually as I'm looking at now, I'm up to 3.85. That's okay, because I'm going to do a bit of cross country where it'll probably go up a little bit because I'll be going a little bit slower at the end. And then the nice thing about coming into Perth is that the last few miles are pretty much all downhill into Perth, so you know, it might make a little energy back or just won't use any energy for that last bit. So I think I'm going to be okay. Now, it really is, everything is conspiring against me. So temperature has gone up a little bit, so I'm at 3 degrees now, so still pretty darn cold, and it's raining to add to my misery. So and when you're driving through the rain, of course there's more drag on the tires, so you're using more energy there. So kind of to counter that, I have generally been trying to follow a truck. So I'm not really slipstreaming, I'm not going dangerously close, but just gently following behind a truck. So it's punching a bigger hole in the, so it's kind of a soft slipstreaming, but you still get a bit of benefit even if you are traveling let me think, yeah, just maybe a little below 2 seconds behind, between 1 and 2 seconds behind. So that's actually keeping up my average speed a little more. The one I'm following, a car transporter at the moment, is sort of trekking along 55 to 58 miles an hour or something like that. So just kind of keeping up that speed. I was following another truck earlier and it got to a big hill, and actually I didn't want to kind of use too much energy going up the hill, so it did kind of pull away, and then the next truck that came along, I just let it go past and then just kind of snuck in behind. So that's helping me definitely get a bit more juice. Right, I am down now to nearly down to just 3 sections on the battery, 30 miles on the range, and the sat nav says I've got 39 miles to go. That's not quite right because I'm going to cut off and do a cross country run which shaves about 10 miles off. So this looks like it should be almost exactly right. Maybe. We'll see. Yeah. So, not too bad. On the way home, hopefully the car will be charged to 100%, and so it will not be just so stressy. Though of course it could be cold. Well, we'll see what the weather's like. It'll be dark then, so the other thing, of course, the lights are on all the way as well, so that's just drawing a little bit more energy too. Hey. So I guess one of the things that just and it's coming back to other Zoe drivers and what their experience of the comfort timer is, that so something that should be kind of less stress, should take away some stress in that it is preheating the car for you, for this particular circumstance has added more stress to me, because it drained the battery to do that, even though the car was still plugged in. It has meant that I'm now, instead of it being a 100% bonus. I mean, it was nice. The car was defrosted. It was nice and warm getting into it, and yet it seems to have added to my stress levels because I wasn't starting this journey at 100% battery. Anyways, I'm in my nice warm coat because we're in end of November and it's miserable, and generally if I'm driving I wouldn't be wearing a big heavy coat like this, but it does allow me to drive with the heater mostly off, completely off, just turning it on occasionally to demist the car, which I've only actually had to do once, which is surprising because of all the rain, but there you go. Right, so I'm just about to turn off, nearly coming to Forfar, and then to head across country. So with more than a third of the battery left, I think we're okay. I think we should be okay, unless if I have a detour or something like that, that wouldn't be good. No, that wouldn't be good at all. Right. So 17 and a half miles to go on the sat nav, 15 miles on the battery, and as I say, the last bit into Perth is relatively downhill, so yeah, I'm not overly concerned, but as you can see, it is blinking miserable. It is bucketing with rain now and going through some, quite heavy puddles and all the rest. So it really is conspiring against me. 2 degrees, so it is cold too. Yes. A little bit of regen here. Truck, get out the way. Excellent, thank you. So my amber alert is on, and there you go. It has gone to red, which I was expecting to happen any minute now. And I'm getting the warning message here. I must charge the car. Yes, I know already. It would be nice to be able to do just such a thing. Right. Well, I'm going to the nearest charger I can find anyway. So that's that. However, 4 miles and 7 on the sat-nav. So what has been a bit depressing about this cross country, where normally I gain miles back, but I think it's just because the weather turned so bad. I've actually lost a little bit on my average. I'm down to 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour, and I was hoping I would get this over 4 by now. So yes, this is going to be a little tight, has to be said. So I'm just cruising, and ready. I am looking forward. There we go. I've lost how many miles now on the battery? 6 miles, 6.3 miles on the sat nav. But look, a little bit of downhill coming, and yes, I am really looking forward to getting close to Perth and heading down. Oh dear. So I'm just going past the airport, Perth Airport, so this is a good sign. Basically, so we're kind of high up here. Basically everything from now is kind of on the level or downhill, which would be good. Which would be very good. So 3.8 miles. I have a tiny sliver of red I can see on the battery, but I should be able to. I need a little bit of battery because I'm still going to get into the town and around it. So yeah, am I nervous? A little bit. Now I have cut quite close to the bone before, and I can see Perth in front below me. So we're going to start gently descending. So because I don't want to regen too much. I just want to cruise, just coast down. Just regen when I need to slow down for roundabouts and things like that. Yes, I think we'll be okay. I think so. It could be a right bummer if it's not, because I'm already late for a meeting I'm supposed to be at, and if I then have to call out emergency services just to take the car 1 mile, that'd be a right that'd be a pain, wouldn't it? Oh dear. Okay, next video by the car park and the charger, I'm hoping. And breathe. The car park is in sight. I have the barest single pixel red at the bottom of the battery, I think, but I've made it. So here's hoping there's a spot in one of the chargers available for me to use. But here we are. 44 miles per hour average. I almost made it up to 4 miles per kilowatt hour. Not quite. 3.97. But 4 was going to be my comfort zone. And yeah, we made it down okay. Press button for ticket. It's not doing anything. What the heck? Third time lucky. It's definitely one of those days, I tell you. All right. Alright, there you go, 3.97 I used. How much I used? 19 kilowatt hours. So you can see I really did not have a full battery at all, but 78 miles, nay bad in this horrendous weather and temperature. Right, gotta rush, plug in, and then I'm gonna have to do the whole thing back again later tonight. 2% left on the battery. So, yeah, actually, not too bad at all. Yeah, this charger is not running fast though. Or maybe temperature dependent, but 3 hours. Anyway, should be enough though to get me charged for later. Cool. A nice full battery. So end of meetings and all that, and heading back. So yeah, battery full, 83 miles says on the range. And let me just put into the sat nav, home. So should be a lot more straightforward heading back. Yes, that extra 5% or so will make a difference going back. Not enough charge, it says, but I should be fine. And so that'll be us. So yeah, we'll see what we're like. I had the score was 97 out of 100 on the Eco Leaf meter thingy, which, to be fair, I was a little disappointed by. I thought I would be a little bit higher than that after my careful driving on the way down. So we'll see what we can do on the way back. The downfall was speed on the motorway, but what do? You can't do much else. I seem to have lost a glove somewhere. There it is. Get those out of my pockets anyway for the way back. Okay, so heading home. It's getting dark. Shouldn't make any difference though, because I had the lights on the whole way down anyway, so that's not going to make any difference to the range. And it's 5 degrees, so a little bit warmer here in Perth. I suspect that's going to go down as we head north. Okay, homeward bound. Coming back into Aberdeen, 5:30, hitting all the traffic. So just under 2 miles to go, 12 miles left on the battery, so no problems. My average ended up at 4.00 miles per kilowatt hour for both the down to Perth and the back to Aberdeen. I didn't reset the averages, so average speed of just about 43 miles per hour. 155.5 miles thus far, and 38 kilowatt hours of energy expended. I wonder what my score is going to be. I have I've started kind of experimenting a little with different ways of coasting and for saving energy, and I did a little bit of this on the way down, but I've been trying a little bit elsewhere. It's the sort of percentage differences are so small when you're kind of experimenting. If you're not doing it in a controlled environment where you can really analyze, it's hard to know, but what difference it's making. Anyway, what have I been trying to do for coasting? Generally, if I'm coasting, I'm just sort of balancing the throttle, just with its your foot is slightly on the throttle, so not fully off, in order that the car starts regenerating, but you're not putting any energy in, so it just is that sweet spot where it coasts. So instead of kind of doing that, I've just been slipping the car into neutral and just letting the car freewheel, coast its way along, and then slipping it back into drive when you need drive. Of course, it's because it's all just there's no mechanical connection going on really. It's the equivalent of just a button being pressed, a different mode basically operating. It's very seamless doing that. So it is just like switching it. You click forward into a kind of coast mode, and then back into drive. So it's quite straightforward to do, and you don't get any well, actually, a modern automatic gearbox is pretty darn good, but some older automatic gearboxes, I used to sometimes do this, and you get kind of a clunk when drive went back in, or you need to kind of just slightly match the revs. Don't need to do any of that, of course. In fact, you could keep your foot flat on the throttle pedal, and it would do nothing, because it's just a control rheostat for the system, and when you're in neutral, it doesn't need anything, so it just ignores the pedal. So I've just been coasting down all of this hill here, but coming to the roundabout, so I'm going to put it in drive once more. So I didn't follow any trucks this on the way back. Just the way it worked, there weren't any that were kind of going along the same pace that I'd be wanting to go along at. And but I wasn't going. I was between 50 and 60 miles an hour. Picked up the speed for the last kind of 20 miles or so to have the cruise set at 60, and 12 miles left. So. Used quite a lot less energy on the way up, but it wasn't raining so much. A little bit of spitting, but wasn't so bad. So it may be dependent. I'm not sure which way the wind was blowing, but that may have been something else that was against me this morning. But yeah, so on the way back, no problems. All very straightforward, which is good. Yeah, so all in all, actually, it was all fine. Just a little bit tight for comfort heading down this morning. But that's what happens when you're in a little bit of a rush. The weather is all against you, the temperature's against you. That's another thing. Yeah, it's still 5 degrees here, so the temperature's been pretty consistent all the way up. A little bit warmer than it was this morning. And I started with a full battery, rather than a battery which was nay full. But there you are. I forgot to say earlier, as a kind of update to and the battery charging impossible issues I was having, I have had it happen once again. So the car I charged twice at the local charger I use and at a rapid. Been no problems, and then last week just happened to go and plug in. I was going to a concert, plugged in at a charger in Golden Square in Aberdeen next to the music hall, and when I plugged in there, now that's a 22 kilowatt charger, it immediately came up with the same error, and I tried to, it's a Siemens charger, that one. I tried a couple of times, just did the same thing, so I was like, ooh, what is going on there? When I came back home and plugged it back into our local one, it charged fine. I've subsequently tried it at 3 other chargers, so two rapid chargers and where am I going to park here? We've got space in front. Yes. So there's a little bit of an uncertainty in my mind there. I mean, of course, I very occasionally had it. I mean, it had been months and months, but I have had it happen on odd times where it's just happened. So it could just be one of those things. And it certainly didn't do the same thing that had happened before, where it wouldn't clear and I just couldn't charge the car at all. As soon as I unplugged, the error message went away, and when I plugged into another charger, it was all fine. So it's a little bit odd. Anyway, so of course I've been trying a whole bunch of different chargers to see if it does it again, but it hasn't so far. All right, I've got another meeting tonight, so I'm going to have to go out, so I'm not going to plug in right now. I'll plug in later tonight to let the car charge back up. Moment of truth. So 39 kilowatt hours used, 157 miles. Wrong way. Bang on 4 miles per kilowatt hour. See that? And my average speed. So we'll turn off and see what glorious score I have. 96 out of 100. Not bad for mostly motorway driving. Speed. There's the issue. Right there. My energy, you see, I was trying to do as much coasting as I could. It does make a difference. There. And my total consumption. Pretty efficient driving though, has to be said. Okay. Night night.